This is a book structure I know as a Flexagon, but it's also known by other names. It's made from a single piece of paper that has art on both sides. With 3 folds, 3 cuts, and 2 pieces of tape, it becomes a Flexagon. The magic of Flexagons is that constructing the book mixes together the art from both sides of the paper. For example, I made this Flexagon with a 2-sided color copy of this. One side has horizontal stripes in cool colors, and the other side has vertical stripes in warm colors. Knowing what the original art looks like, you can see that constructing the book has brought the art from both sides of the paper together in places. The art is mixed up even more by operating the book. I call each of these surfaces a page, and each of these little squares on the page a panel. If you watch closely, you'll see that the warm and cool panels on 2 of the pages are switching from left to right and right to left each time that page is turned. There are 4 pages in the Flexagon and 6 panels on each page. The panels on 2 of the pages will not switch between left to right as you operate the book. One of them is the page with the tape, and the other is the page that has only folds along the center. When you reach either of those pages, flip the book over and begin again. All 6 panels on each of the other 2 pages will switch from left to right or right to left every time you turn that page. I'll use a plain white paper to show you how to make a Flexagon book and then give you some tips about the art. Printer paper will work just fine for a Flexagon. Paper will work better than cardstock because cardstock tends to fall apart along the folds quite quickly as the book is used. Paper made with long fibers withstands repeated folding best. The most likely place to find that is an art supply store that sells paper for bookmaking. The paper does not have to be a particular size, but anything bigger than about 9 by 12 might be hard to handle depending how big your hands are. You can measure and score the paper for folding, but it isn't necessary, although careful, precise folding and cutting is important. I've made this book structure with lots of kids, and it almost always works just by being careful. So far, I've folded the paper in half, and then I've folded each short end exactly to that center fold. The next step is with the paper folded in half, and from the folded edge, we're going to make 2 cuts that are parallel to each other, perpendicular to the folded edge of the paper, and straight. And we'll try to make them equal in distance from the ends of the paper and between each other. The cut stops exactly on that first fold. And then we open the paper out and we have something that looks like this. The next cut is the trickiest one. We're going to release one end of this flap by cutting along the fold. We only cut at one end. It doesn't matter which end. It's really important to cut exactly on that fold, and only from cut to cut. So we just cut far enough to release that flap. Now position your paper in front of you like this, and press that fold down so the flap is going that way. Then fold the left side of the paper to the right and fold the left side of the paper to the right again. And your paper looks like this. Now flip the paper over, and we're going to fold this flap this way, and we need to tape this edge of this piece of paper to this piece of paper. The trick is we can't get any of this piece of paper caught in the tape, or the book won't work. So make sure that this is lining up in a way that will let you tape it so that the book will function. I find it much easier to use 2 pieces of short tape rather than 1 piece of long tape. So that tape starts right here. It does not overlap out here at all. And then I'll put the second piece of tape starting right here without overlapping it out here at all. The tape can overlap each other. Press that firmly because that's what's holding the book together. And that's how to construct a Flexagon. Now we teach it how we want it to work. So put the tape side away from you and gently fold the book back on itself, and it will look a little messy. We're going to just tidy up those folds. We're teaching the folds how we want them to behave for the book to work. And then open the book in the center and fold it back again gently and tidy up those folds. And then open it up in the center. Now we've reached the page that has only folds along the center. There is nowhere to open this book on this page. So we flip the book over, and now we can fold the book back on itself again, tidy up the folds, and do that one more time. Tidy up the folds, and now we're back to the page that has the tape in the middle. So we've taught the entire book how to operate the way we want it to. And each time we use the book now, it will be much easier than that first time when we had to teach the folds how we wanted them to behave. Let's have a look at some art strategies. Because paper is quite thin, marker might show through, and it might be best to use pencil and pencil crayon for the art. You may be able to see on this example that the letters are outlined in fine black marker and the color is colored pencil, and it does show through a little. It's just something to be aware of when you're planning what materials to use for your Flexagon. All the samples I'm showing you today are made on plain white paper, but it's fun to use colored paper or gift wrap or sheet music or maps or pages from magazines and calendars. The easiest and fastest way to make art for a Flexagon is to do art on both sides of the paper and then make the book structure and just see what happens. If you prefer to plan your book strategically, you can make the book structure first and then do the art. This is an example of working that way. I knew I wanted the words in this book to get jumbled up, so I made sure to put them on the pages and panels that would switch back and forth from left to right. If we were to take this Flexagon apart, it looks like this, and it looks complicated, but it's easy to do if you make the book first and then do the art. There are lots of ideas for what to put in a Flexagon that capitalize on the fact that Flexagons combine images from both sides of the paper. For example, you could use images and words you associate with each side of your family, the languages they speak, the foods they cook, places they've lived, and then mixing all of that family history together in a Flexagon becomes a sort of self-portrait of you. Your Flexagon will look the way you want it to look. You're the artist, and you get to decide.